Welcome back and thank you for keeping it NTV. You are still watching NTV Weekend Edition and this is Talk of the Nation. Now, later last month, President Museveni directed the Civil Aviation Authority to, among other things, work to improve all aerodromes in the country as a measure of boosting tourism and the economy. Tonight, we sit to find out if this is a viable measure and what it will take to make it work. And joining me tonight is the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Fred Bamwesigye, to help us understand how this is actually going to be made to work. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining me for Talk of the Nation.
Good evening and good evening, viewers.
Well, let us start with the presidential directive. What is entailed in improving all aerodromes in the country?
The presidential directives have two aspects, at least for us in aviation. Development of trade hubs, both at the departure and arrival at Entebbe International Airport and in the respective targeted aerodromes. Those trade hubs are intended to show the world, the traveling public, what Uganda can offer. All the products of Uganda, including agricultural products like coffee, culture, tourism centers, are supposed to be seen at a glance in those trade hubs.
At each aerodrome?
At each aerodrome of focus. And I'm going to tell you these aerodromes of focus. Starting with Entebbe International Airport. In fact, for Entebbe, the team, a team that is carefully selected from the different agencies of government, has visited Entebbe International Airport and actually located those spaces where the trade hubs are going to be. These are, by the way, not only going to be in the aviation facilities. They will also be in embassies abroad. They will also be in areas of interest in the different countries that the country will be collaborating with. And I'm sure the team will be having time to come here and explain in detail, even for the different sectors, because now I'm talking about aviation, but there are other areas of agriculture, tourism, and other places, yes. But for us in Entebbe, it will be at Entebbe and focus aerodromes, starting with 5 aerodromes of Kisoro, Kasese, Pakuba, Arua, and Chidepo.
5?
Yes.
And in total they are the aerodromes that
the
we
aerodromes of country for regional aerodromes are 13 in numbers that are under civil aviation. But there are also 51 aerodromes which are also managed by other private entities and local governments. Yes. So, but we are going to focus, because you can't focus on all. The areas of focus are also those areas that are tourism, that are already identified as tourism circuits.
Okay.
By tourism circuits, I mean collaborating arrangements of tourism centers also in the East African community regions. So already we've been working towards realizing that in phases.
Well, the presidential directive seeks to improve the tourism or boost the tourism sector.
Yes.
How is this so with the works being started at the aerodromes? How is this going to address, or how is this going to see that the tourism is boosted when these aerodromes are actually worked on?
Yes, currently, as you know, except for a few aerodromes where we have arrangements to have tourists come from other countries and directly land in these facilities, where we arrange customs and immigration, and they come at planned and agreed times. But this directive is holistic. It is talking about aerodromes are part of the tourism promotion in the whole country. Therefore, it is possible, and this is the presidential directive, to work on them, improve their facilities, their capacity, to even handle passengers of an international nature. They become international aerodromes, international airports that will receive international passengers without first coming to Entebbe to be able to be transported, say, to Kasese. Tourists will be coming directly to the aerodrome, the airport of Kasese, for purposes of tourism and other leisure activities the tourism want. And in so doing, you will avoid inconveniences or expenses that may not be necessary by first landing in Entebbe and then being able to be transported to these centers of attraction. That also includes all other facilities, for instance, hotels around these aerodromes, trained taxi and transport operators, like tour operators, speaking the same language of the country and what the country can sell. That is just one coordinated effort brought in by these directives to make sure we boost, we boost trade in our country, but also boost tourism.
When do we anticipate the commencement of the works at the aerodromes?
They are immediate, as I have been telling you. In some aerodromes, actually we have been working on them, like Arua, aerodromes like Chisoro. We've been working in a phased manner. But with the presidential directive, the president is saying, speed up the work, get resources, because you know also the directives include where to get resources. He has already directed the road fund to provide these resources.
So how much will it cost for these works to take place, and how will this affect your planned budget?
There is a pre-feasibility study that has put the cost, an average cost of $40 million per aerodrome, but we hope the conclusive study to bring up more realistic figures. As I told you, some we had already started, even some the feasibility studies had ended, but the 3 of the 5 aerodromes we had not concluded.
You said $40 million per aerodrome.
On average.
On average.
On average, yes.
Now, with the government already going through substantial allocation shortfalls, do you think this is something viable, for a viable plan for this financial year?
It is viable in the sense that it has economic returns and multiplier effects. But you see, I am not saying that we can work on those aerodromes just instantly. These are continuing. They could even go for 3 financial years, but we focus on that. He's calling us to focus on it as a catalyst for trade and tourism. That's what the directive is talking about.
Yes. Now, as the aerodromes, the work on the aerodromes is going to commence, we also understand that some renovation has been happening on different airports and construction as well. We've seen the Entebbe old and new. We've seen airports like Hoi, Magulu, and Arua. Well, would like to hear from you an update about the ongoing works on some of these airports.
Oh, that is a really, really big question. But all the works are going as per schedule. And if I might talk about Entebbe International Airport, there are 2 different of renovations. There are renovations of expansion and modernization of the current facilities, which include the departure area and arrival area of Entebbe International Airport. That one is on schedule. If you have been there recently, we are raising a canopy. We are doing on electricals and plumbing materials, and that is done by UPDF Engineers Brigade, and they are moving on very, very, very well. Because of the differences in importation and other things, I think they are telling us now that they may not meet the target of May, but will definitely meet the target of end of June. And that we are supposed to open those 2 areas, departure and arrival, and now passengers will be able to move up to the departure level, or when they are arriving will be picked from the arrival level. There is that twin bridge system.
That is for
both
the Entebbe
lower
Airport.
and up for Entebbe Airport. And I want to take this opportunity to thank our traveling passengers, because they have really, really been inconvenienced in many areas. But we are glad that they have taken the inconvenience, but we are going to make sure that those will be done and will be picked.
Because,
to
because
the
actually my next question was going to be, how have these projects affected the aviation operations? And now we are also including the aerodromes. How is this affecting the operations?
That project at Entebbe is obviously has been affecting operations, and all airports are ever improving. There is always a level of inconvenience. But we are glad that our traveling passengers have been able to take that inconvenience in good faith and have moved with us. And we are sure come end of June, that inconvenience, at least of the arriving and departing passengers, will be history. That's what we have planned to do, and we are going to do it.
Okay.
Now, come to the other areas of expansion. I've always told you that the cargo center was completed. 100,000 metric ton cargo center. State of the art with very, very modern equipment. With its apron where cargo aircrafts are parking. That is complete. We sealed off the runways, and except lighting on one of the runways is the one that is still, because it is in phase 2 of that rehabilitation project. We are about 20% on the new terminal building, 20,000 square meters of the new terminal building, which is coming up. In fact, if you have been at Entebbe, you'd see it. Again, on schedule, and we don't expect any inconvenience, and it will be completed. Many other areas you don't see, like electricals, IT systems, all those have been done. If we had a lot of time, I would go into details and explain to you. For the upcountry aerodromes, Arua, who have been working on it for quite a while. We finished the terminal building, we finished the first layer of the runway, and we are now working on the second layer, but with a view to have, and now with the presidential directive, I think this is going to energize the works, because we've been doing it with the pace of the monies we have. Right now, that directive, once it comes in and money comes in, we definitely will increase the speed of that. And then we'll embark on Chisoro and Kasese, and then Pakuba and
Kidepo.
And Kidepo, yes.
So as we wrap up this conversation, do you anticipate that these projects will be completed in time, most cases this year?
The one of expansion of Entebbe, the departure and arrival, will be completed obviously this year. It will also be completed in time to handle a big meeting of non-aligned movement and G77. That one is, and in fact we are under some collaboration with the organizers to make sure that they are completed. The various runaway systems and other internal systems of the airport, information systems and other communication systems will obviously be done and completed. But those projects of the terminal building, that one will not be completed, because it will be completed next year.
Okay.
The ones in the aerodromes, the president's directive is to start them and do them in phases and make sure that we complete them. We focus on them. The whole country focuses on them as part of the trade and tourism enhancement activities that will see our facilities get improved for purposes of handling trade and tourism.
Well, thank you so much, Fred Bamwesigye, the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, getting to give us an update on the presidential directive that seeks to improve works at the aerodromes, and this in turn will see the tourism sector and the economy at large boosted. Well, thank you for joining us for Talk of the Nation. We take a break and return with NTV Weekend Edition.